Good win from our guys. It's obviously kind of a funky game. Both teams kind of struggling through it. Our defense wasn't where it needed to be in the first half, especially that first quarter, giving up, I think, 30, something points, 36 points. But our guys locked in that second half. I think we ended up with 12 blocks, which was a season high for us. Multiple guys. I mean, even Kyle off the bench with 2 blocks. I thought our activity ratcheted up in that third quarter and that fourth quarter, made their looks tough, especially around the rim, Drummond with, a lot of pressure on the rim, boards, post-ups, rolls. I thought our guys did a much better job compared to that first half, and we struggled offensively. It's, one of those nights, but, as I hit the guys, like, this is a great example. We've been scoring over 100 points a night for a while. To have to score in the 90s and lock down defensively, like, that's an impressive win. So it's, kind of grinded out a fair. It's going to happen some nights in the NBA, but really pleased with our effort, and especially dialing it up in that second half defensively.
Don, go ahead.
Taylor, did you think the big fella was in his element tonight doing battle with Drummond?
Yeah, I mean, JV was huge for us. Obviously he scored well, but just man, the pain. Our pick and roll defense was really consistent when he was in the game. He had to, bang a lot of bodies in there. I'll go back and watch the tape. Hopefully guys were coming in and crashing, but then we started seeing our guards coming in late in the fourth quarter, and I remember seeing Ja a few times getting there, get some big hits, and then he scooped it up. But he ends up with, I think, 4 blocks. That's huge. The more that he's just protecting the paint, it's not all rebounding, it's blocking shots, it's positional defense wherever it is to make them take some tough shots. I thought he was huge for us, and then obviously offensively, just continuing to produce big time in the pick and roll situations. Obviously, our effective going to the offensive glass as well, and him being a beneficiary there and just setting that tone on both ends was big for us tonight.
Ja had a few turnovers you usually don't see from him. Like, was this just a little bit of an off night? I mean, not some point you're probably going to have a down game.
Sure, yeah. I mean, I think he was attacking. Give them credit. I mean, they got some big bodies in there. With Drummond and Wood and Maker. I think he got caught in a couple tough situations where, maybe the read was a little bit earlier and he got a little bit deeper, which we were emphasizing before the game, and then they kind of swarmed and took some things away. And I think in the second half they started adjusting to switching defenses and blitz defenses. Kind of threw us off a little bit, but for the most part, pleased, especially with his defense, even though he kind of struggled offensively. Defensively, the tone he set, especially on Reggie Jackson getting the ball, we started switching, fighting on the the post with the bigs and getting some big time hits, even though he may not come away with the rebounds. I thought he was big with us, with some of our defensive rebounding.
Coach, what have you seen so far in the few games that Josh Jackson's played for you?
Really good energy, provides a spark, 3 games now. Goes out there and just, we're continuing to hit him about just being super aggressive defensively. I thought this was his best defensive game. He's trying to get better every single day, realizing coming off the bench, what he can do to impact the game. Obviously we want him to be a tone setter defensively. He's still, getting acclimated a little bit with his teammates, getting that chemistry, but he knows all of our terminology, our schemes. I think he's gone out there and executed brilliantly, coming in and, being a long athletic wing that can rebound, push the break. I think there were a couple times tonight where, I think we all were kind of a little discombobulated, but him just figuring out where his teammates are, how they can find him, I think he's going to transition seamlessly. But, he's putting in the work every single day, watching the film, knowing that defense has got to be his calling card, and then he's just going to be a beneficiary of our motion style and unselfish style on the offensive end, and he'll just catch a groove as, him and his teammates continue to develop that chemistry.
Coach, there was a moment in the first quarter where Jaren had picked up his second foul, and he motioned to you saying that he wanted to stay in the game. How do you let him stay out there?
Sure.
What leads to you having that level of trust with your players where you can communicate openly with them in the heat of the moment like that?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, as a coach, you're in a tough spot there. What are you going to do? Because obviously you got to be thinking about the next 3.5 quarters. But, I had faith in him that he was, we obviously switched the matchup there. And but I thought he was really disciplined the next couple of possessions, to avoid a third foul there. But I got to have faith in the guys, when, they know that, they've picked up 2 quick ones, how they got to be more disciplined the next time around. It was a good call. I had faith in him, and he executed well, and then obviously came back to start the second quarter and was fine the rest of the game.
You guys have made a habit lately of when you play these teams with not so great records, kind of coming out, feeling them out in the first half, and then really turning it on in the second half. Is that encouraging to you that this team is developing these habits of really putting away these games that are quote unquote winnable?
Well, I mean, I wish we'd come out regardless if we were playing with a little bit more of a tone. This recent stretch here, I think we can do better. We've been pretty good in the first quarters, third quarters throughout the year. It's that time of year where we've just got to just keep putting our foot on the pedal. I've hit him in a couple of timeouts. Even in the first quarter, like you talked about, of our gases. Our foot's off the gas, offensively, defensively. But credit to these guys that sometimes you're going to come out, you're going to be a little sluggish. It's more about us, how we just got to just dial it in, and that's what I led off with. How in the third and the fourth quarter, our guys really ratcheted it up and did it collectively. It wasn't just one guy, but it's going to happen sometimes. But the fact that these guys can recognize that and they keep fighting through it and they keep doing it together, that's big for us in the long run.
Tyus has obviously been doing really well coming off the bench, but in a game like this when Ja's really struggling, how much of a luxury is it to have somebody who can come in and just keep the offense moving the way he does and just kind of settling everybody down?
I mean, Tyus was great for us tonight. And he's been consistent all season long, just filling the role of coming in and just being a spark for us offensively. I mean, I think he ends up 6 for 11, but he even missed some wide open ones late. We were all missing these bunnies and these floaters that we normally make. But when he can come in there and give you that spark, and I think he's really just trending better defensively, his activity, to be able to have that off the bench. We've talked all season long about our depth, to have that 1 through 5, playmakers, on the offensive end, and guys that can be difference makers defensively. We all have areas that we can get a whole lot better in, but he's recognizing how he can be that impactful player, whether someone's having a good night or not, and I think that's when, he's been really consistent recently and been a huge boost for us. And then our bench in general has been big for us. Would love for all 10, 11 guys that are playing to have great nights. It's not always going to be the case, but when guys can come on off the bench and really help us, it's big for us in, deciding some games.
2-17 from 3 tonight. It was just an off shooting night. There was a couple that bounced off the top of the rim. I mean, it seemed like it was just odd tonight compared to most nights.
Yeah, it's one of those games. I think someone told me, dated back to like the Houston game where we were like 3 for 20 something. So we haven't seen that in a while. Guys keep chipping away and working, on getting their shots up and stuff. It's that time of year where we just got to keep grinding through. I mean, we're getting the looks. I mean, obviously, I hope we get more, but we end up with 68 points in the paint. So I'll take that every day of the week if we're trending, 60, 70 plus. So one of those games. Hopefully now, we hit the road and we just get this rhythm. 2 days off. It's good to get back on the court and stuff, competing. Hopefully we'll be better on Wednesday night. Great. Thanks, everybody.